Welcome back, everybody. I have missed you all so much. I promised I was going to do monthly flowers. So today, with all the snow that I have outside currently, I will post a picture soon. Yeah, we're going to do a snowdrop. There are two flowers for the month of January, and one is a carnation and one is a snowdrop. And I really like snowdrops, although carnations are one of my favorite flowers. They're very hard to paint. So I didn't want to frustrate anybody. I wanted it to be an easy enough tutorial for everybody to do. So we're doing some snowdrops. I've started with some classic green and I've put some leaves. This rock is going to look amazing. But you don't have to have a really pretty rock. You can just have a handmade rock from the molds from Happy Dotting Company on Etsy. If you visit Happy Dotting Company on Etsy, don't forget you can use my discount code Rachel's Rocks Canada. All one word, all capital letters, and you can get yourself a discount when you spend more than $10 there. So if you don't have any beautiful stones in your area, you can definitely make some. And I do have tutorials. And make sure you check the description of all of my videos for anything and everything you need to know. So I'm using the same color to do the leaves and the stems, but I am going to lighten up this color with some white so that I can use a blending brush, which I've made myself. And yes, there's a tutorial. It's just basically cutting off the brush really short, and then it works almost like a sponge. So I've used hunter green or classic green, sorry, and now I've lightened the classic green and I'm using my blending brush to lighten the centers of these leaves. So I'm just trying to give it, a little bit of realism, but not really, because if you know me, I don't do anything realistic. So yeah, it's just, I'm doing my best. I'm giving it some depth. I'm trying to make it look pretty. That's all I care about. I don't do technical here. I just make things pretty. Welcome. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the like button. And if I make you smile, hey, say thanks just by hitting that like button. It's been a great month so far. We've got lots of snow. The kids are back to school. And yeah, I'm ready to make some really cool tutorials. I have a new list going. So if you have any suggestions, make sure you leave it in the comment section below. Now we're going to play with Hunter Green. So I've lightened the center of these leaves, and then I've put kind of like a fine, very hard to see it, but there is a line going down the center of some of these leaves. But I'm going to just kind of use the hunter green, which is a little bit darker, and I'm just putting some shade in there where there might be shade. Down lower at the bottom, I'm going to put some hunter green at the bottom there, and I'm using the same blending brush. Just rinse it off between colors so that you don't make a muddy mess using all the same colors with one brush. Just rinse it off between and you'll be great. So now, I did mention earlier, I guess I should probably write a disclaimer or something at the very beginning that says I don't do technical things. I don't do technical terms. I don't have technical names for anything. I don't know what these doodads are here that I'm drawing. So don't come for me. I don't know what these are. They're doodads. And then out of the doodads is going to come a little green hook. And that little green hook's going to turn into a beautiful snowdrop flower. But these doodads, they're going to stay called doodads. I'm doing my tutorial in the evening when everybody else is watching a movie. So if you hear any loud, like, I don't know what they're watching, some kind of Marvel thing, so you could hear anything right now. Don't be alarmed. It's just a movie. So out of the doodads come little green hooks. And I'm using that same classic green that I started with at the beginning. And from there, we're going to do like these little green bells, just little green ones. We're going to lighten the centers of those little green bells using our lighter green color that we made. But I'm going to use my blending brush for that. Once I've got them painted on there, I'll get my blending brush. So, like I was saying, you don't have to use a rock that's shaped just like this. You can incorporate these little snowdrop flowers easily onto a small canvas or the side of a mailbox or a handmade stone. You don't have to use the same things that I'm using. I'm just here to inspire you. Just don't think automatically you can't do it because, man, it's just not going to look good if I don't have that exact stone. It's not true. You can paint it on anything. You can paint it on a piece of paper. So I'm going to start off with these two petals. And I'm going to kind of make these like kind of whimsical, kind of like not perfect and kind of maybe droopier than what normally they would be. But that's just me. That's how I want to do it. They might even be a little bit bigger than what you would normally see them. But yeah, I just want to have fun with them and make them my own version of the snowdrops, the January flower. Anybody have a birthday in January? Make sure you put it in the comments below. I would love to wish you a happy birthday, that's for sure. My birthday's in March, so we have to wait till then for my birthday. So each one's going to have 3 petals. And then there's going to be these weird like green bikinis coming up. And yeah, just Google pictures of snowdrops. You'll understand what I'm doing. But like I said, I don't know the technical terms for any of these things. So these are petals, but there's going to be like bikinis in a minute. There's doodads and bikinis and green hooks. I think we're fishing. We might be fishing. So I'm doing 2, and then I do the center one. I don't know why. That's it. That's how comfortable I am with it. And then, of course, once it's all dry, I will be outlining everything with a fine lining brush, and it will be outlined in black. And I'm going to add some grass, actually. So I've dragged down that classic green color and the hunter green. I brought it down with my blending brush, and I widened it a little bit at the bottom. So I'm still kind of sponging it out right now. We're going to let those white flowers dry because I'm going to do 2 coats of white on there. And depending on what color stone you're working with, you might want to do 2 or 3 coats of white before you go any further. But let it dry in between coats. So I'm just using my fine lining brush and I'm flicking the paint upwards. I'm going to use a little bit of lime green as well, or grass green. I'm not even sure. I will make sure to list the colors that I'm using in the description below. It's just a lighter green. You can just add white to a darker green to do the same thing. But I just wanted to give the grass a little bit of dimension too and put some different colors in there. And now that my white is dry, I'm going to outline my leaves in hunter green. So I'm not going to go with the black yet. I'm going to do a dark green first around these doodads as well. These are officially doodads. And I'm just separating all of my leaves. One of them is out front, so it kind of gets lined right around the front there. And the rest, you just kind of pretend you know where those leaves are in there and line them out. And once again, the black will be coming later. So now I'm going to separate, because now that the white is dry, I have to separate these petals again because we have to do this little center thing that is part of the snowdrop flower. And I apologize, this is not to disrespect anyone's birth month flower, but I really don't know what that part of the flower is called, so it's going to be a snowdrop bikini. And yeah, it's just like this little green part that's on the inside. And I also didn't know that snowdrops came in different colors. I thought crocuses were totally different, but I think they're part of the snowdrop family, if I'm not mistaken. And I like crocuses because they're purple and they always come up at the same time. Anyway, there is a meaning to each monthly flower. And the meaning for carnations or snowdrops in the month of January is admiration, love, hope, and rebirth. So these flowers have to be pretty sturdy to come up in the month of January. So yeah, I would say that rebirth and hope, definite, definite great symbols and meanings for these flowers. How awesome is that? And like I said, they do come in other colors, but I chose to do what's commonly known as a snowdrop, which is white. And there is going to be a little bit of flower. There's going to be a little bit of flower on the yellow. I'm going to add some yellow blushing, I guess I call it, to these flowers once all the white is dry. And I made a mistake on that first flower on the left. You can see there's like a big black blob there at the bottom. I'm going to paint over top of that with white, make sure that I put a couple coats on it before I go ahead with anything. But you can always fix your mistakes if you get to it right away. It's a lot easier. One thing I have done is I've had paint on my fingers and then I've put it like all over the rock while I was moving it around, and I didn't even know that I was leaving like little fingerprints and thumbprints of paint all around the sides of my rock. Have you done that? I've done that. I apologize for it going out of focus. It will do that once in a while. For some reason, it focuses on my giant hands. But yeah, that's not the important part. My hand is not the important part. So I'm just making sure that there's enough coats of white, and I'm making sure that my green outline is dark enough. And you can sponge and blend if you want to with the little blending brush as many times as you want until you get it right. I just like to make it lighter in the centers of my leaves. It just gives it a little something something. And my doodads, I like them outlined with green, and then it's lighter green inside the doodad. But these little snowdrops need bikinis because, yeah, that's what we're going to do. So this looks like a cute little like tube top or bikini. And it's another little part that's inside the flower. So there is 3 petals, and then there's a little part that's inside the petals that does have green on it. And if you know what this little part is, the little bikini part, let me know, because I did not go do the research. I just make the pretty things. And maybe I'm going to get in trouble for not doing the research, but I don't, once again, it's not technical here. We're just having fun. So if you know what that name is of that little green part that I'm calling the bikini, put it in the comments. I would really appreciate that. I really would, because I'm sure there's lots of people out there that know way more about flowers than what I do. Come back to me. Focus, focus. Oh, Lord, it's going to be... there we go. We're back. So I'm letting that dark green bikini dry, but I'm also, there's like a little white bottom on these little bikinis. So there's like a little white line along the bottom, and so I'm just kind of lining it with black so that it looks like there's a white line there. And now I'm just thinning out some of my black outlining because sometimes it gets out of hand and I need to just kind of fix it. So I'm just adding white anywhere where it's too thick. So on the next flower to the right, that one side there is really thick. So I'm going to thin that out as well. You might not see me do it sometimes, but I'm constantly thinning out areas that don't look right to me. It's cleanup. I call it cleanup. If you've been here for a while, You've heard it. You've heard me say it. And there's also a song called Clean Up. It's like, clean up, everybody, everywhere. I think it's from Barney. It might be. The big purple dinosaur. Haven't seen that guy in a while. But I know who he is. So underneath the bikini is like a little white strip. And we're going to let that dry. And everything's going to look fantastic. And then, once everything is dry, I'm going to add some metallic watercolor over top to give it some glitter. Because we're not using gold in this one. I know. I'm sorry. You can use gold. That is an option. You definitely don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. And you don't have to wipe your paintbrush on my sleeve like I do. So yeah, I am just lightening. I'm lightening the insides of these little bells that are attached to the petals. Just putting a little light green in there. Once again, it's all about just me having fun. So this is some of my handmade watercolor, metallic watercolor, and I'm using like a goldish green, and I'm going to go in really lightly on top of this acrylic paint. You don't want to use too much water because you'll start lifting your acrylic paint. You don't want to do that. So I'm just using a little bit of water just to get some of that glittery sheen on my leaves, because it's going to look so pretty. And I'm going to use like a whitish pearly blue. It's very light. It almost still looks white when you look at it a certain way, but when you turn it, there's like a blue sheen to it. So I'm going to use that on the white on my snowdrops. But I have to add yellow first because there needs to be a little blush of yellow. So I'm mixing together moon yellow and white, and I'm going to sponge it on using my little blending brush. If you have a little sponge that works, do that. Sometimes I've noticed people use makeup sponges to get in these little areas right here where I'm trying to put the yellow in. I just want to kind of blush it. So just barely there, but I want to see a little bit of a tint of yellow in that area. So I'm going to do that. I might have to add a little more white because it's too yellow in certain areas. And I'm sorry it's going out of focus so that you guys can't see it. Just be careful. You don't want to ruin your beautiful doodads and leaves and stuff. So just be careful. You might have to go back over and fix some stuff if you've got too big of a blending brush. It's hard to get in all these little bits and pieces. But definitely cut yourself a blending brush. Use my tutorial and get yourself a little blending brush that you can rely on for little sponging projects like this. So I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. But I do have to outline everything in black. It kind of cleans everything up and separates it from one another. Like the leaves don't look like they're glued to the flowers as much if you separate it with black. But you don't have to. You can also use gold. And I want to let you know that I'm also doing one of these snowdrop tutorials that is strictly watercolor. Well, mostly. I am going to use some gold and some black, of course. But yeah, it's going to be watercolor snowdrops. And that will be out on Monday. So this one's going out Sunday morning, and the watercolor snowdrops are coming out on Monday morning. So that's 2 for 1 of the January flowers. And you can try it both ways and see what you like best. So now that my flowers are dry, I'm putting on a little bit of this bluish white pearly watercolor that I made. And I'm just lightly brushing it on. I don't want to peel up any of that acrylic paint once again. So just be super careful with it. And you can see that there's a nice sheen to that now. It's going to look a little bit different once I seal it. You'll be able to notice that a little bit better. But it has changed it up a little bit. I went over some of my linings, so I had to fix that. And then I'm pretty sure we're going to be ready for resin bath, and then we can show it off. How about that? So I'm going to show you some stuff that I have going on at my desk, and then I'm going to do the resin reveal, which is my favorite part. So this is some of my foam grips that I've been doing with watercolor paint, of course, and some little pans of watercolor that I've been making. Aren't they beautiful? Some of them glitter, some of them shine, some of them sparkle. And paint buttons. I'm going to have some more of these going into my Etsy shop this week. But now, to the best part. Look at that gorgeous Lake Superior stone. It brought out all of its beauty and color and everything the second I put some resin onto it. It's absolutely gorgeous, and you can see all that glitter from the watercolor that we put on the leaves, on the doodads, and on the petals. It really does look so pretty, and congratulations to whoever may have a birthday this month. Happy birthday to you. I love you. Keep painting